may be seated. Well, here we are in May, this month of power, of knowing that we have that determination, that declaration, that dominion to do what is ours to do. And this Sunday, we're starting a 5-part series looking at our 5 unity principles. The first one, God is. And we've talked about God is a lot, but we claim it every Sunday in that proclamation of truth, our statement of faith. And that first unity principle, it's stated in many different ways, but simply, God is absolute good everywhere present. It seems simple enough, but why is it so hard to remember all the time? I have to admit, the spiritual giant that I am, that's a joke, on this spiritual journey of learning truth. I'm glad that I'm a student of truth. Aren't you glad to be a student of truth? That means we get to keep learning. We're teachable. We're open. And even though we've heard the idea that God is, we can always take that deeper into our knowing. Take a deep breath into yourself. Say, God is. Now, this wisdom, we talk about it in unity, but it's not a new idea. It's in the Bible many, many times, and this is a passage from John 4:24. God is spirit, and those who worship it must worship in spirit and truth. It's so true. Now, I will admit that we come into this world often with training that God is more like a person, maybe like an old man or an old woman, an idea of a concept of in the body God. It works for us. One to watch over us, maybe tell us maybe you're not doing it right, whatever. But as we mature and we open ourselves to another idea of God as absolute good, everywhere present, and therein a person God, we can't even factor an idea how a person God can be everywhere present unless it's Santa Claus. And still, that's one chimney at a time. Where God is spirit is everywhere, in you, in me, in everything around us, the entire universe. There's no place where God is not. And so to find our way, the simple instruction of the Bible is to connect with that God in spirit, which means we close the door to our senses, the outer world, and we come home to ourself, to that truth I know. There's nothing wrong that when we're 5 and we pray to God as a person, and when we're 15 we pray to God, I don't know, and then we pray to God as we mature to God all is. We know that there, in every cell of our being, there's that presence because God is. H. Emily Cady, Unity author, the fabulous book, Lessons in Truth. She says, God is life, love, intelligence, substance, omnipotence, omniscience, omnipresent. We can get kind of hooked up on those omnis. It just means all inclusive. So all omnipotence is all power. All power. And here we are in the month of power. So it's all power in the universe. Isn't it good that the creator of the universe has all power? It also is omniscient. All knowledge. Absolutely all that is knowing. And it's a good idea since God is eternal, unchanging. So isn't that a good library? Give it to God, and then God has it all. And omnipresence. All present. Everywhere present. Even when we're in the dark alley, God is present. Even in war, God is present. Even in the birth of a baby, God is present. Even in our moment, right now, exactly where we are, God is present. Now, it's a journey of awakening to what we can understand about God. Because as much as we can understand about God, that's how we can relate to God. And that's why it's an ever-evolving understanding. Now, sometimes knowing I'm one with God and I'm co-creating God is when I'm feeling most excited in my life. It's when I feel like I'm in the flow, where things are connecting, and I'm able to find solutions, I know what to say, or I'm just feeling joy. But where I learn is in those challenging times, where there's the diagnosis, or the lack, or the doubt, the shame, or the resentment. Anyone ever been there? Because that's life. Life's going to have that stuff. But the sooner we can get from the fixation in our mind on how ain't it awful, or how negative it is, because even in the challenge, God is there, bringing solution, bringing restitution, bringing safety. And we can be the hands and arms of God bringing care. One of the things I'm most grateful about this global pandemic we've been part of is I have seen the awesome waking up of people being of service to others, going out of their way to be helpful, because there's been a lot of need, a lot of challenge. We're never going to look back at this global pandemic and go, oh, what a blissful time. It was so full of joy. I didn't have to do anything different. God just provided me everything I needed. That is true, and it's been challenging. There's been loss. There's been loss of our confidence, of our income. Some of us are lost of our home. And in everything that we do, in all that we are, God is. And that should awaken, stir an energy that we are in the right place, at the right time, with the right people. William Earl Cameron, Unity minister, said, God is life. God is the infinite of this universe that can be seen manifest everywhere. The life you share at this instant is God life. I tell you, when I saw this quote, something happened in me when I read God life. It was like an identification with something I could be with. God life. The life of God as me, making decisions and opening my heart to truth. Because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring us. Heck, we don't know what later today's going to bring us. But if we are in our knowing of being a God life, then we're fully equipped with all that God is, which is the very energy that it takes to create the universe, is ours. As co-creators with God, we don't have lack. We might have not a full belief in all that we're powerful enough to do, but we have an amazing ability to change our thinking, to awaken to a yearning or a call. We can change anything by simply making the choice. And that's the power of being a God life, is that with God we have the freedom to do anything. And we might say, oh, but what about that evil? What about that bad doing? What about that oppression? It's very real, but it's not God life. That's us making decisions that are harmful. It's an error thought, creating difficulty for people. Human beings can be very cruel to each other. We haven't learned yet that that's unacceptable. I can easily see a time when we will never look down at any other human being as anything less than a holy child of God, just like us. That we are one. And we celebrate our diversity. Because wouldn't it be a boring world if we all looked exactly the same? It'd be a little hard to know who's who. I mean, really. And what that points to is we have a God life that no one else has. This is a valuable point to take because when the train comes by, we know truth is being said. God life is our identity that's no one else has. Just like there's no two fingerprints the same, or no two snowflakes the same. No two God lives are the same. We each are infused with talents and gifts, often that we take for granted, because to us that gift is just, oh, I just cook, or I just drive really well, or I just really listen well, or whatever our gifts are. And we all have them. And I believe that it's our journey to connect with that God life and live it, be it, open ourselves to learn how to extend our gifts to others. And it's a good day when I can help you be happy. It's a good day when I can set all of my needs and cares and wants aside and make your life a good day. We know this in unity because we know what sacred service does. It's more for us than anything we do for anyone else. And that's a gift. Because God is. Cora Fillmore was the second wife of co-founder Charles Fillmore, and she says, God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. This is the powerful part of this truth, that God is eternal. God doesn't begin in time and end in time. God is everywhere present, and that God essence is always. That means when we take time to be with God, we're taking time with the infinite. This very same God that was present for our great, 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 great grandmother. The same God. The same wisdom. The same providence. The same powers. It's transformative. It's transformative because when we become more and more aware of this basic truth that God is always present, how important is it that I prove that I am right? How important is it that I'm satisfied when there are others that are in deep need? I believe that when we identify with that God life, we open ourselves to a call that leads us. We can't even see what it's going to be because we don't know yet what it will be because it doesn't exist yet. We are co-creating with God. And wrapping this talk to a close, we discuss from this wisdom of Reverend Robert P. Seeking, who wrote the book Light for Our Age. God is the uncreated, transcendent source of all being and existence. All that proceeds out of or from God is of God. All is God, and God is all. I like when I can remember that God is the ideation, is the energy, is the life under all things, and God uses us to create, uses nature to create. And right now you can look outside and nature is birthing. From the bunny to the birds to the wildflowers to the peaches. I took the stagecoach up 306 and got to Purgatory Road. Interesting that I went to Purgatory to find heaven. And there was Annette with those gorgeous Carolina Reds. They're cling peaches, but boy, do they cling to my heart. So tasty. Oh my God, I bought $20 worth, so there's a big bowl of peaches that just make the whole kitchen. I tell you, God looks good as a Carolina Red. And when I'm eating a peach, there's no question that God exists because there is nothing like eating a tree-ripened peach from Texas. I haven't been in Texas long, but I know that one. And sure, Georgia has peaches, and everyone has their, just like everyone's got papayas or mangoes. But I wouldn't buy a mango here, but I'll buy a Hayden mango in Maui is just like going to purgatory and finding heaven. Because it's a mess. Juice all over the place, and you're in perfume. Just like a peach. And it might seem like I've taken a tangent away from this talk, but isn't that what life is? Finding what gives us joy, love, and peace, and then chew on that, juice that, live that, and then we are on a journey of awakening to love. Because our master teacher Jesus said, God is love. And that's a good conclusion, because we started with God is. Let's go into meditation knowing God is love. As we allow the Unity singers to help us settle into this now moment in song.
Om Shanti 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 Om Shanti
Breathing, resting, coming home, allowing peace to guide us, enliven us. As we turn our attention to within, our safe space. We affirm and know that God is love. God is life. God is joy. God is present right now. breathing into our body temple, we let go of everything before this moment. Let's take a moment now and commune with God is love as we enter the silence. Yes. This love is ours. And as we awaken to our God life, we bring whatever we've received in our moments of prayer and meditation and allow them to be the touchstones to guide us in our life. So let's bring our attention back from this time as we wiggle our fingers, wiggle our toes, or roll our head. And we're ready, we open our eyes and we'll say the affirmation that goes along with today's talk. Together, I am one with God. I am one with God. I am one with God. And so it is.
Your faith. Step out on the water. Release your faith. Every step is stronger. Step out on the water.